What's up, my comic comrades? We are back at it again with another collectibles review. Today we are taking a look at DC Collectibles' newest line of DC Essential figures. As you can see, we got Sinestro, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Batman, and Catwoman. So let's see what these figures are all about. If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know we reviewed figures from this line in the past, and I'm super excited for this one because we got two Knightfall figures over here, both Batman and Catwoman. That's one of my favorite Batman storylines of all time. And then, of course, we have Hal Jordan and Sinestro is one of my all-time favorite DC villains. So I'm gonna move the boxes and take a look at these figures' articulation. As you can see, I put them all in pretty cool poses, at least I think so, especially Hal Jordan and Sinestro over here. But let's give you a 360 view before we take a look at all their articulation, starting with Hal Jordan. So we're gonna use our brand new turntable right here. And the sculpt on this thing is amazing. I gotta say, obviously since they're out of box, I looked at them a little already, and they're some of the best, if not the best figures in the DC Essentials line thus far. The paint apps are nearly flawless, the sculpt is fantastic, and they just stand really well, which was a problem in the earlier waves for this series. Their ankles were really loose, and a lot of the figures had a problem standing up, but as you can see, like I'm spinning this thing like crazy, and he has no problem standing up. So with that, let's take a look at his articulation. If you've had several of these figures, you kind of already know what you're gonna get, but you got the double jointed elbows right here. You got wrist articulation up and down, 360 at the wrist. His head is on a ball joint, so that could also do 360. He doesn't look up that well, I will say that. That's probably as far up as you're gonna get. And he doesn't look down that well, so, you know, take what we can get. He's got ab crunch, so that's gonna go around that much forward, like that. You could probably work it a little more. There we go, work it more. And a good amount back. There we go. So pretty far back. He's got waist articulation. You can do a 360 at the waist if you'd want to do that. His arms go up about that high. You could probably push it a little more, but as you know, with new figures, you probably want to heat up the joints first or put them in hot water to loosen it up as not to damage the plastic. You could also go 360. He's got a thigh cut, which is great right here. So you could move that right there. His legs do the splits like really, really well. So let me look at that. So that he does a pretty solid split. He's got double jointed knees, and he's got a calf cut. So you can move that right there. Ankles go backwards and forward, and 360 at the foot. So the articulation is great on this thing. The only thing I think it's missing is a toe articulation, but that's actually kind of rare with figures. It's like an awesome bonus when you get it, and that would be the only thing I think that would set this thing and make it basically a perfect 10. That and probably more motion or range of motion in his head. But besides that, this thing poses great. You see, still stands well and just looks fantastic. But that's enough of Hal Jordan. Let's take a look at Sinestro over here. So he's gonna pretty much be the same thing. All these figures actually do have the same articulation, minus Catwoman over here, because she's on a female body, obviously. But let's give you a 360 look at him, because his sculpt and paint looks great. I love the symbols on the chest too. He's got the yellow lantern core symbol there, which is painted on great. Again, the paint apps are phenomenal on all of these. He's got the armband with the Sinestro symbol right there. You even have the sculpted on yellow lantern ring. Same thing for Hal Jordan. I didn't show you guys that, but Hal Jordan also has a sculpted on ring right there. So that is really cool. Attention to detail. Again, all the same articulation. He's gonna have the ab crunch, his head, 360, double jointed elbows, knees, a calf cut right there to do a 360. Everything I just said with Hal Jordan. But let's move on to my favorite figure in the line, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, and that is Knightfall Batman right here. This guy looks awesome. Let's give you a 360. The sculpt is fantastic. He's got that classic gray and bright blue. Obviously, again, he's Knightfall Batman, so he's based off of the artwork in that storyline, but he could easily be a Neil Adams Batman, a Super Friends Batman, just that classic, you know, Batman with a bright blue, yellow oval, and light gray. And he's easily become one of my favorite Batman figures ever. The sculpt is just great. He has the same exact articulation as these two guys over here. He's got the double jointed elbows, knees, calf cut right here. All the same stuff. The only thing that's different, obviously, besides the sculpt for his head and gauntlets, is that he's got a cape. But an amazing figure. If you're a Batman fan, I'm telling you, you need to get this figure. It's easily one of the best ones, if not the best Batman figure DC Collectibles has ever done, and has become one of my favorite Batman action figures in general. I mean, look at that. That's just like classic Batman. When you think of Batman, that's like the only thing that would be better than this, which I hope they do, is they use the same exact sculpt and just do gray on black with the black bat symbol across the chest. Maybe even give us like a Hush Batman, where it's the dark navy blue with the gray, since the Batmans they've been doing thus far have been based off of storylines. We got Rebirth Batman, which was Jason Fabok's Batman. We got Knightfall Batman. So if they do like a Jim Lee Hush Batman, oh man, that'd be dope. That might dethrone this one if that was the case. But lastly, we got Catwoman over here, Knightfall Catwoman. And this is one of my favorite Catwoman designs ever. I loved it. It's, you know, I grew up reading comics in the 90s. This is as 90s as it gets. It's also kind of an homage to her original outfit in her first appearance, as when she first appeared, she had a purple and green outfit with a cape and all that stuff. But this sculpt is awesome. That looks ripped right out of the comic books. Very, very good. It's probably, I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but it's true. Like DC Essentials, this line, stepped it up a lot with this wave. And I have several Catwoman figures, but this is at least top 3 for sure. At least top 3. So let's take a look at her articulation, since she is obviously different than these 3 right here. So for her, she's got double jointed elbows, which is very rare for female figures. Usually they don't do that much because they say, you know, they're too thin and it'll make the plastic too fragile. But she's got a double jointed elbow, which is great. She also has ab crunch right there. She goes about that far forward and that far back. You could also turn it side to side. And she has a bicep cut right there. So you could turn that, does a full 360 if you want it to. She's got the thigh cut right here, so you could turn that left to right. Double jointed knees. She's got a calf cut right there as well. And then obviously her ankles go up and down and they're solid, so you don't have to worry about her falling. She will stand very, very well. All the figures in this wave stand very, very well, which is a big improvement because, again, that was a QC issue with earlier figures in this line. With that said, if you want to pick any of these 4 figures up, you could do that at any of your local comic book shops or specialty shops. You'd also find them online, which we're going to put several links for that in the description below. But before we wrap today's episode up, we got one more thing to take a look at. Next up, we have this awesome DC Collectibles Knightfall bust. This is Jean-Paul Valley's helmet, or Asbat, when he took over the role for Batman after Bane broke Batman's back. And I'm very excited to dig into this. Let's look at the box real quick. Very, very cool. We have 2 of these already on our set, and these things are just awesome. So I'm glad to keep having that collection grow so we can interchange them on the set. This one I think is going to have to go on the set. I haven't even opened it yet, but this is one of my favorite freaking Batmans, and it's super colorful, and I'm very excited. So we're going to open this up, waste no time, and no. Did we get number 1? Did we get number 1? Is that what happened?
It finally happened!
Okay, so again, we've reviewed several stuff for DC Collectibles. We are very good friends with them. They send us stuff all the time to unbox and show you guys. And it's been an ongoing gag that I've been like, we're getting closer. We've gotten like a number 3, a 15, and I keep saying, I'm like, one day they'll send us a number 1. It finally freaking happened. That's amazing. 1 of 5,000. Wow, that's actually insane. That's really, really cool. Okay, well, that's a good way to start off this review. So let's put that to the side and get this thing opened. That's crazy. I'm actually thoroughly shocked. Like, if you guys know anything about collecting statues and stuff, that actually makes the statue even worth more, because a lot of collectors want to have the first one ever made in production. So to have the first one ever made, like first one off the production line, that's insane. That means it's gonna say it on the bottom of this this bust. So I'm excited for that. Come to me. Get out. Look at this bad boy. Wow. Okay, so again, I just said it with the Essentials figures. Obviously, I'm a 90s kid. That's when I grew up reading comics and watching all the superhero cartoons and stuff. And this is definitely, this is peak 90s right here, okay? Jean-Paul Valley Batman, Azrael Batman, Asbat. This is it right here, man. This is bringing back all the memories from my childhood. I actually remember picking up this Nightfall storyline on an end cap at a Walgreens at Coral Springs, Florida. And that's how I started reading this storyline. This is really, really cool. Wow, sorry. I'm supposed to be giving you guys a 360, but I just kind of want to look at it myself. Really, really cool. Let's pick it up. Let's see. It should say, dude, look at that. One out of 5,000. That is insane. And it's heavy too. Really, really heavy. I said it before, we reviewed the Batman Who Laughs one bust for this and the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns bust for this. This is like the best idea ever. Like if you're a Batman fan collecting all these, it's a must. Because imagine having like 10 of these, 20 of these lined up in a row, and they're small enough where they're not going to take up too much space. You know, they're not like life size, so you could fit them on bookshelves or shelves, and they're good quality. The paint application is near perfect. Solid weight, like you feel like you're getting what you pay for. And again, when you line them all up, this is just gonna be fantastic. I'm a fan. So if you're a Batman fan, you definitely wanna pick this guy up. Again, he's not gonna be available until the end of February, but you'll be able to pre-order him now online or at your local comic book shop, and we're gonna put links in the description on where you can do that. But before I go, I just want to give a huge thank you to DC Collectibles for sending this out for us to show you guys, as well as the DC Essential figures. And funny enough, the DC Essential figures, at least 2 of them, are Nightfall themed as well. So it's kind of been like a Nightfall review, which I'm totally okay with. I love that storyline. But again, thank you to DC Collectibles, and we'll see you guys next time when we talk about all things comics.